Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we'll learn about how urine formation occur, or instead we can also say tubular reabsorption and secretion occur. Okay, so firstly we'll see what are basically happening in renal tubule and how urine form ultimately. Okay, so first of all you have to start this answer with a structure of renal tubule, and you can just broadly say that what happens at what level. Okay, then one by one we'll see how which channels are used in this and how reabsorption or secretion occur. Okay, so first of all in PCT reabsorption of sodium chloride, 65% of sodium chloride occur here, bicarbonate around 90%, and 100% glucose or amino acid reabsorption occur here. Okay, secretion, when we talk about creatinine secreted here, H positive secreted here, and uric acid secreted here. Okay, so you have to label it properly like this. So reabsorption is with this arrow from tubule to blood, and from blood to tubule is secretion. Okay, in then next segment is descending loop of Henle. Descending loop of Henle, where only water reabsorption occur. Mind it, whenever you will talk about and urine formation, reabsorption or secretion, the descending limb will not come. Descending limb is only permeable to water. Fine. So next come ascending limb. Ascending limb, basically what happens here is sodium chloride reabsorption occur only and potassium secretion occur. So 25% sodium chloride reabsorb here. Next segment is DCT. DCT again, reabsorption of sodium chloride occur here, calcium magnesium occur here, bicarbonate reabsorption occur, and hydrogen ion and potassium ion are secreted here. Okay, and coming to last segment, which is collecting duct. Collecting duct is, we know collecting duct is very important for water reabsorption. So here water, sodium chloride and urea, they are reabsorbed here. Okay, some potassium secretion yes occur here. So one by one we'll see how these reabsorption and secretion occur, which are the channels involved, and if any hormone can influence these. So these three things we have to learn in this video. Okay, so one by one with one segment each, we have to learn how basically this happens. Okay, so let's see one by one. So first of all you have to understand one thing, that you should be knowing that there are two membranes on a cell, right? Toward lumen, the membrane is called apical membrane. Okay, and away from lumen is basolateral membrane. Basolateral membrane is toward blood always. So whenever anything come from tubule and you have to go to the blood, so it have to cross two membrane, one on apical membrane and then basolateral membrane. So for diffusion of these substances in any direction, we have to know about some channels on apical, some channels on basolateral membrane, because these channels are fixed. Some channels are required to take the substance from tubule and into the cell, and from cell to the blood. So this thing you have to understand here. Okay, so apical membrane is always toward the lumen and basolateral is toward the blood. So we have to zoom one cell and see which type of transport mechanisms are there. Okay, so we have to start with PCT. So first of all, this is PCT. What is PCT? Proximal convoluted tubule. So on apical membrane, I have drawn every channel on red color with red color, and on basolateral membrane with black color to make it very different. Fine. So first of all, with this filtrate, so from this is the lumen where filtrate is coming and filtrate is passing to the next segment. So here glucose and amino acids, when they are absorbed here, they are filtered with the help of sodium glucose or sodium amino acid facilitated transporter. So this is a symporter, which is via facilitated diffusion. It transfer these glucose and amino acid into the cell, which can directly enter the blood. So 100% transport of glucose and amino acid occurs here. So they are absorbed. Second thing is sodium. Sodium in this filtrate is absorbed by many channels. We have to understand here. So this is the first channel, which is called hydrogen, sodium hydrogen exchanger, NHE. Okay, with the help of this, sodium enters the cell and hydrogen is being secreted into tubular part. So this H positive movement is called secretion. Okay, Okay, so this sodium is absorbed into blood in exchange with potassium. Sodium potassium pump is present on basolateral membrane. Fine. So whenever this H positive is secreted, it combines with HCO3 negative bicarbonate ion in the filtrate and form carbonic acid. Okay. So carbonic acid is formed, and this carbonic acid present in the lumen with the help of carbonic anhydrase present here. This enzyme is present on this apical membrane. This convert into water and CO2, and we know that water and CO2 they can cross easily, okay, and they enter the cell, and with the help of same enzyme it can again be converted into H positive and HCO3 negative. Fine. Why H positive? Because this H positive is needed to function this pump, sodium hydrogen exchanger pump. Okay, so that's how basically this cycle occur for H positive secretion and bicarbonate absorption. Fine. So this bicarbonate reabsorption occur with the help of sodium bicarbonate symporter. Fine. So can we say that this bicarbonate reabsorption here is sodium dependent? This is being asked in many MCQs, that which bicarbonate reabsorption is sodium dependent and which is chloride dependent. So in PCT it's sodium dependent. Fine. So that's how transport occur in PCT. So if I ask you what happens in PCT, can now you tell that glucose and amino acids are reabsorbed, hydrogen ion is secreted, and HCO3 is reabsorbed. Can you say this now? So sodium chloride, bicarb and glucose amino acid. Urea will not talk about today. Urea will talk about in counter current mechanism in next video, right? So PCT is over. I think you should pause the video and you have to draw it. You should draw it by yourself and understand and list down which channels are present in apical membrane, which channels are present in basolateral membrane. Next, coming to DCT, loop of Henle, descending. Obviously, we don't have to tell any reabsorption because only water reabsorption occur here. Then next is ascending loop of Henle, where we have to know that how sodium chloride reabsorption occur, potassium secretion occur. So this I have drawn is ascending loop of Henle. So again you have to understand that this is the lumen, okay, filtrate coming from here, leaving from here. So this is the lumen, right? So which is this membrane? This is apical membrane. Away from it is basolateral, which is toward blood vessels, right? So here you have to understand that this is sodium chloride symporter, but sodium chloride potassium symporter it is. This is very unique. You don't have to mug it up because ascending loop of Henle have very unique transporter with a sodium chloride potassium transporter. Or we can say that this is sodium potassium chloride symporter. Okay, so simultaneously these three ions are picked and dropped into this thing, into cell. Okay, so these potassium and chloride, they enters the blood via one more symporter which is called potassium chloride symporter. With the help of this symporter, both enter into blood vessel. Okay, but on the other hand, sodium which is left, it enters the blood with the exchange of potassium, sodium potassium pump. Always you can see that sodium potassium pump is always present in basolateral membrane, okay, to maintain the neutrality always. So potassium is being secreted into the lumen. This is called secretion, potassium secretion, and sodium is reabsorbed here. So can we say now that sodium chloride reabsorption we have seen and potassium secretion we have seen. Okay, so this is ascending loop of Henle. Coming to DCT. Now DCT, basically early part of DCT and late part of DCT. In two ways we'll see this reabsorption. Late part of DCT and CT are same. So we'll see here what happens basically. Okay, so let's see. So DCT, what happens? Again, this is lumen. Here filtrate is coming, here filtrate is leaving. So this membrane is apical membrane. And you don't have to mug it up. Actually, apical membrane have some villi-like structure. Okay, so to increase surface area for absorption part, right? So we have a symporter, sodium chloride symporter here. Okay, and sodium and chloride enter into the cell. And again on basolateral, what will be there? Sodium potassium pump, which this sodium into the blood vessels, and this potassium in exchange which is coming into the cell is secreted into lumen. So this is called potassium secretion. Fine. And chloride enters into the blood via leaky channels. And one more thing here very important is calcium and magnesium ions. They can enter the blood vessels in paracellular route. What is paracellular? The space between two cells where they can enter and they can absorb into the blood vessels. So this is called calcium and magnesium reabsorption. Now can we say in DCT part NaCl we have seen, calcium magnesium we have seen, only bicarb is left which is being reabsorbed in late part. We'll see here. Okay. So we have seen here the this thing potassium secretion we have seen here. Okay. So let's see now what is being left. So here this is the common part, DCT and CT, how they behave simultaneously the same way. Let's see how. So DCT and collecting duct. So here again this is blood vessel. So this is lumen where filtrate is coming, and here the final urine is coming outside. Okay. So what we have to see is now this time this is apical membrane and this is basolateral membrane. On apical membrane, now here you don't have to mug it up actually. There are same channels on apical, same channels on basolateral membrane. Can you see here? This sodium hydrogen transport, sodium hydrogen exchanger is present on both the membrane, and sodium potassium pump is present on both the membrane. So it's same throughout. Okay. So let's see what happens. So sodium hydrogen exchanger. With the help of this, sodium is absorbed and this sodium enters the blood vessel. So this is called sodium reabsorption, right? On the in exchange of hydrogen ion. So this is called hydrogen secretion, right? Okay. Now this hydrogen, we know that the same process occur in PCT. It combined with HCO3 negative form carbonic acid, and again carbonic acid with the help of carbonic anhydrase is converted into water and CO2. This water and CO2 it can go into the cell easily, and again the same enzyme help in dissociation into H positive and bicarbonate. This bicarbonate here, this is really important. Bicarbonate is reabsorbed into the vessel with the help of chloride. Okay, this is called chloride bicarbonate exchanger. Fine, exchanger. So here chloride is secreted into the cell. So can I say this is chloride dependent reabsorption? Chloride dependent reabsorption. Are you now clear? If someone asks you which one is where chloride dependent reabsorption of bicarbonate occur and where sodium dependent reabsorption of bicarbonate occur. So sodium dependent in PCT and chloride dependent on DCT or CD. Okay. So last thing left is basically sodium potassium pump. So here sodium reabsorption occur which reabsorb into the blood vessel in exchange for potassium secretion. So on both the membrane these are same. In loop of La it's the triple symporter. On the other hand, so PCT you have to understand, otherwise these are very unique. So this is all about DCT and CT. How sodium reabsorption occur, bicarbonate reabsorption occur, and how potassium secretion occur and H positive secretion occur. So here we have seen that sodium chloride we have seen, calcium magnesium we have seen, bicarbonate we have seen, H positive and potassium secretion we have seen. Okay. So this is all about collecting duct and DCT. Now again the late part of DCT behave again differently for some reabsorption. What is that? This is water reabsorption. So this part is this part is only for collecting duct. Basically on apical membrane we have some channels which are called aquaporine channel. So which in influence of ADH, anti-diuretic hormone. Tell me in comment box that which gland secrete ADH. Okay. So in response of ADH, whenever there is decreased blood volume, ADH is being secreted. What happens basically? ADH, they increase the number of aquaporine on apical membrane. Okay, they stimulate these aquaporine channels, which are nothing but the water reabsorption channel. Okay, so from this filtrate, water is reabsorbed to maintain the blood volume. Fine. So this is first thing which we should know. And last thing is the sodium potassium pump, because you have heard in CVS that to maintain the blood pressure or blood volume, we have something like RAS mechanism, right? RAS mechanism. In response to renin, there is some hormone secreted from adrenal cortex. Name the hormone in comment box, please. So that hormone, it increases the sodium potassium pump activity, both the sodium potassium pump activity. And if activity of this pump increases, what happens? There will be more sodium reabsorption. Okay, so sodium and water reabsorption occur because of which hormone? Because of aldosterone hormone, which is secreted from adrenal cortex. Okay, so this way urine is being formed, urine is being, various substances filtered, and ultimately the filtrate remain here is urine. Okay, so urine have mostly nitrogenous waste products with some water obviously, but also maybe with some RBCs or WBCs. In some pathological condition they may increases. Okay, so that's all about tubular reabsorption and secretion. Okay, so you have to first listen this video, pause this video, try to draw these structures what I have drawn it the same way, and try to understand the concept again and again, and it will be very clear to you. Okay, so that's all about urine formation. I hope you liked this video. I hope you'll understand this video, and next we'll be talking about counter current mechanism, which is also really important. If you have any query, you can comment below. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like my videos. Bye bye.